Most mornings, we wake up and immediately hand our mind over to the world. Notifications, news, noise. Before we've even taken a breath, the mental operating system is already running someone else's program. But what if the first few minutes of your day were yours? What if you made a quiet decision before anything else to run your own mind on your own terms? That decision changes everything. Sleep is not downtime. While you rest, your brain is running its most important maintenance cycle. It clears metabolic waste, consolidates memories, and rebuilds emotional balance. Researchers call it the glymphatic system, essentially the brain's overnight cleaning crew. When you cut sleep short, you don't just feel tired. You think slower, react emotionally, and lose access to your clearest, most creative self. Sleep is the foundation everything else is built on. Quality sleep has a structure. Your brain moves through cycles. Light sleep, deep sleep, REM, each one doing something different. Deep sleep repairs the body and consolidates learning. REM sleep processes emotions and fires creative connections. When you wake up at the wrong point in a cycle, you feel groggy even after 8 hours. Understanding your sleep architecture isn't complicated. It's just about working with your brain instead of against it. The hour before sleep is one of the most underrated windows in your day. What you do in that hour sets the chemical tone for your entire night. Blue light from screens signals your brain to stay alert. Stress thoughts keep cortisol elevated. But a quiet routine, dim light, slow breathing, a few written thoughts on paper, begins the transition into genuine rest. One intentional hour at night is worth more than any morning supplement. Focus is not willpower. Most people treat it like a character trait, something you either have or you don't. But focus is actually a neurological state. It's governed by specific brain chemicals, primarily dopamine and norepinephrine, that determine how locked in your attention can get. The good news is that state is something you can learn to create intentionally. You don't need to force focus. You need to understand what produces it and build your day around that. Every app on your phone was designed by a team of engineers whose job was to capture your attention and keep it. This is not a conspiracy. It's just business. But the result is that your focus has become the most contested resource in your life. Every notification is a small interruption that costs you more than a few seconds. Research shows it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully return to deep focus after an interruption. Your attention is worth protecting. Your environment shapes your mental state more than motivation ever will. A cluttered desk creates a cluttered mind. Constant noise fragments attention before you even begin. The most focused people aren't more disciplined. They've simply designed their environment to make focus the path of least resistance. Clear the space, remove the phone, close the tabs. What surrounds you either supports your thinking or competes with it. Design your space like it matters, because it does. Your brain in the first hour of the day is unusually receptive. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for clear thinking and decision-making, is warming up. What you feed it in that window sets the tone for everything that follows. A structured morning isn't about rigid discipline. It's about giving your mind a clean runway before the noise of the day arrives. Movement, silence, intention, 3 things that cost nothing and change everything. Exercise is probably the most underused cognitive performance tool available. When you move your body, your brain releases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, sometimes called miracle grow for the brain. It stimulates the growth of new neurons and strengthens existing connections. Even a 20-minute walk increases focus, reduces anxiety, and improves memory recall. You don't need a gym. You need consistent movement. Your brain was designed to think better when the body is in motion. What you eat directly shapes how you think. The brain consumes roughly 20% of your body's total energy, despite being only 2% of its weight. It runs on glucose, omega fatty acids, and a complex web of micronutrients. Processed food creates inflammation that dulls cognitive performance. Whole foods, hydration, and consistent meal timing give the brain stable fuel. You can't expect sharp thinking from a brain running on empty or running on the wrong kind of energy. Every habit your brain runs follows the same three-step loop: cue, routine, reward. The cue triggers the behavior. The routine is the behavior itself. The reward is what makes the brain want to repeat it. Understanding this loop gives you leverage. You don't break habits by willpower alone. You redesign the loop, change the cue, replace the routine, redirect the reward. Once you see how habits are built, you stop being a passenger in your own patterns and start becoming the architect. Meditation is not about emptying your mind. That's a common misunderstanding that stops a lot of people before they begin. Meditation is about observing your mind, watching thoughts arise and pass without being pulled into them. That practice, done consistently, physically changes the brain. Studies show that regular meditators develop a thicker prefrontal cortex and a calmer amygdala response. You are literally training the organs responsible for your experience of life. 10 minutes a day is enough to begin. Writing is thinking made visible. When thoughts stay inside the mind, they can feel overwhelming, circular, and impossible to resolve. The moment you put them on paper, something shifts. The act of writing forces precision. You have to choose words, and choosing words means making something concrete that was previously formless. Journaling isn't therapy, although it can feel like it. It's a tool for gaining perspective on your own thinking. 5 minutes of honest writing clarifies more than an hour of mental spinning. Your body has two powerful biological reset buttons: cold and heat. Cold exposure triggers a norepinephrine release that can increase focus and mood for hours afterward. Heat through sauna or hot baths activates heat shock proteins that protect neurons and promote recovery. Neither requires expensive equipment. A cold shower in the morning, a hot bath in the evening. These are ancient tools the body already understands. Modern neuroscience is simply confirming what the body has always known. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change, to rewire itself based on experience, thought, and behavior. Every time you repeat a thought or action, the neural pathway associated with it gets stronger. Every time you choose a new response, a new pathway begins to form. This is not metaphor. This is measurable biology. The brain you have today is the result of everything you've repeated up until now. The brain you'll have tomorrow depends on what you choose to repeat from here. Nobody builds a sharp, clear, high-performing mind in a weekend. It happens the same way everything meaningful happens. Slowly, through small, consistent choices that compound over time. Sleep a little better, move a little more, protect your focus a little longer each day. Write one honest page. Sit quietly for 10 minutes. None of these feel significant in isolation, but repeated over weeks and months, they reshape the architecture of your thinking in ways that become undeniable. Every choice you make about sleep, attention, movement, and thought is a vote for the kind of mind you want to have, not someday. Now, the science is clear. The brain responds to how you treat it. It grows where you direct your attention. It strengthens what you repeatedly practice. It clears when you give it rest. You are not stuck with the mind you have. You are always, in every moment, in the process of building the next one. Start with one small thing today.